Hello.
All right. Hello. Talking to, I'm not talking to myself, just so you guys know. I'm not, I'm not the crazy cripple. I'm just the cripple. Anyway, so I'm with a digital broadcast, and I don't know, I guess you're TV, and I don't know how many of you are TV and how many are radio, but um, basically, a digital broadcast is based out of Gainesville, Florida. It's been in business for over 20 years, and basically, it's terrible to say this, but well, it's they're still one of the few privately held companies, and certainly after the garbage that I'm dealing with, I learned that it's very important to be a name and not just a number. And I think that's true when you're dealing with manufacturers as well. So we have our engineers, special, so they're broadcast engineers and also computer technology because we build the servers and stuff. And my name is Jill Walters, and like I work with digital broadcast, but I before that I spent like 15 years working with Crispin Corporation, another automation company based out of Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina. And I worked, my first broadcast job was actually, well, it was technically radio in college. I was the GM, but that was my first where I got paid enough to live. I worked for Leach back when they were still Leach. And then I got ended up with Quartz, but then Quartz got bought by Everett's, and we had to either move to Canada or DC. And they were like, I feel like I can't afford to live in DC. And the woman was like, oh, well, you can live in a suburb. And to check this also, DC suburbs are actually the most expensive place in the US to live. So I got taken back to Crispin because actually, technically, Crispin was my first job. I was their first employee back. I was 24 years old. It was a long time ago. Anyway, but so I've I guess work with automation, but also the equipment that automation controls. So it's a fun stuff there. And then let's see. And this is doing I guess we're going to talk about the future of broadcasting, OTT. And what's I guess interesting there is that OTT platforms, and I guess I don't know if any of you when in the radio doing like because I know the podcasts and stuff are stuff that's happening like with audio, you can do it the same way. But there's a range of monetization models, including subscriptions, advertising, pay-per-view. So this lets you as the content owner choose the model that works best for your business, content, and audience. So it's nice to have that flexibility. And also, it's we'll talk about this too, but it's less expensive to set up and just try and change things so you can kind of test and figure it out. So the OTT market offers us opportunities to generate new streams of revenue. And the other thing that I guess we don't always think about is that with OTT, we can reach viewers anywhere in the world. We're not restricted to just our DMA. I can watch the TV stations that I watched in Orlando growing up. So we're expanding our audience beyond traditional cable and satellite. Also, it's an OTT viewing requires is a smart device and an internet connection. So it also gives us an additional engagement and a direct relationship with our viewers, as OTT platforms can gather data on your viewers and use it to tailor content, personalize recommendations, and create targeted advertising. And you guys probably know why targeted advertising is important, because they'll pay more for it. And so it gives us, I guess, constantly we have new ways to engage and interact with our viewers, like interactive movies, merchandise sales. I don't know if any of you watch like the CBS News, they stream. They do like once a week, they do some kind of thing that CBS has a partner with, they bring in products that they give you a discount on and you can go to their site and buy them. And I'm like, it was strange when I first started seeing, but you know, it helps pay for things. And so you can make comments on what you're watching, like live or afterwards, also on stream surveys and games and so on. So this is I guess a little bit of a history. The origin of streaming is actually, looking at this, Netflix had some of the first streaming, and that pushed networks to stream to compete. But they had, and Netflix had original programming, but started to look for alternatives as profits lulled. Disney Plus started only allowing the content to be seen on their app, but they found that they were actually making less money that way because they learned the hard way that licensing was a significant part of their profits. So it's also more difficult for viewers to find and watch your programming when it's only available on your one specific app. So as broadcasters and state, we learned that the way to make money was to stream content we own, because the licensing is how everyone else makes money off of us. So when you don't have to pay the licensing fees, you get all the profit. And then like we started seeing stations stream their news, sometimes like replay, like on demand, but also while it's happening, local sporting events. And actually one of the stations we work with, like WMC, because they've got a lot of, like, I guess, college sports and stuff down there that wasn't getting broadcast. And then I've had people creating lifestyle shows because it's content they own and it was a natural fit and easy to create. So, and then let's see, the revenue from the OTT industry continues to grow and is expected to more than double in the next 4 years. While more than half of the OTT revenue came from advertising, and it's expected to surpass 210 billion by 2026. But and keep in mind that in 2020, the revenue from this was only 106 billion. So that's 100 billion in 16 years. But and we found out too that this is part of like the gathering the data when we're doing the streaming. When you're streaming video, found that 65% of the time it's done on mobile and TV apps rather than on computer browsers. And a little over 50% of the revenue in the OTT market comes from the advertising video on demand, AVOD, and then 40% of it comes from subscription video on demand, SVOD, and then only 5% is a pay-per-view at this point, TVOD, transactional video on demand, and then bare 3% from like video download. And even though advertising generates 50% of the total revenue in the OTT market, subscription customers generate nearly twice as much money per user as users who use ad-supported streaming services. Basically, think of it this way. AVOD has 100 viewers creating 50% of the revenue because they're watching the commercials and stuff that stream through. But SVOD only needs 50 viewers to generate 40% of the revenue, 40% more. So that you can make almost the same amount with half as many people. So, and let's look at this. So we look up here, AVOD, advertising video on demand. What's the difference between that and FAST? And they're both monetization models that use advertising, but the distribution methods differ. And so AVOD is a content on demand. So your viewer can choose what they watch and when, whereas FAST resembles traditional TV experience. So you would choose a channel and watch whatever is scheduled at the time of viewing. You don't get to pick. And then the SVOD, like the Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, is expected to grow like another 50% by 2025. And since half of the number of people generate the same as the AVOD, like the advertising video on demand, that'll be a notable increase in profits. So anyway, I will stop lecturing. So the revenue, it's like the numbers, it's like by 2026, it's expected for the subscription video on demand is they're expecting it to be more than $125 billion. And 80% of the US consumers have a video streaming subscription. And actually, was interesting to me. 4 subscriptions is the average. And that's compared to only 65% of people having a pay TV subscription in 2021. So basically, our market is changing. So it's like interesting that I don't know. HBO Max was the top grossing iPhone video app, generating more than 11 million in revenue. And Disney Plus was the second top with just over 8 million in revenue. And again, that's the subscription service that's I thought it was interesting that makes so much money. And then highly targeted advertising means more revenue from the ads, because like we were telling, your advertisers will pay more if you can segment your customers. So customer segmentation based on demographics and their interests help us apply the targeted advertising. And then you guys know, with ATS 3.0, we now have the ability to stream more channels, but we need content for them. And if we're paying those licensing fees, it gives us less revenue, which is where news, pre and post game shows come in. And content we own means that we get to keep 100% of the profits. So, and I guess this is linear TV, and this is actually from one of my customers that streams, has a channel up in, I guess, Vermont. They've been doing it for a while. He's like, linear TV thinks in terms of big groups doing things at the same time. So he said that's why live news and live sports is still relevant. But streaming introduces the matter of choice into the convenience, because then with streaming, a lot of times you get to watch it when you want to. So granted, with sporting events, I think you'd want to watch it live. But so generally, this means that the goal is no longer just to make a good show. The new goal is for us to restitch our viewer bases as they fragment, so we can find like their common interests and make these kinds of channels that appeal to them. So our intrinsic need with streaming is to find viewers and recombine them into groups we can reach. And that's like web streaming, connected TV, OTT, app streams, YouTube channels, many of the smartphones, and some, you know, they have like Disney Plus, they have their own app and stuff. And then fast channels too from device manufacturers. So Samsung, TV Plus, LG, and everything like that. And then this was interesting to me. CTV, so connected TV, is the highest percentage for the 55 plus. So connected TV still feels like an experience that they know and understand with the appliance and the big screen. So, and note that the viewership on the smartphone, the highest, so basically if you're under 55 years old, smartphone, that's where it's being watched. I thought that was very interesting as we were talking about getting older, because yeah. Yeah, it's like, you know, sorry. See, I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. So WCX is the new channel, and this is one of the things that they do with the live stream too. So down here, I don't know, you can't see so down there you see the Infinity Mobile, and that's their sponsorship. So the graphic logos for sponsorship rotate or they don't, basically up to their choice. And we have another customer that does the same with sponsors. But the thing is, they had their sponsor come back and they just, I'm going to tell you how they paid for it. It's interesting too, but I'm jumping the gun there. But they wanted to have a different logo based on the time of day because they had multiple things as a company that they were focused on. So they wanted a morning logo, an afternoon logo, and an evening news logo. So it swaps out. So you can also have traffic schedule the replacement interstitials that sales sells, and you can use Scuddy for accuracy and play over or replay, and it can be recorded into blocks when it's recording. So basically the Scuddy 35 can let us know what to break the segments into. And that way, when you do a replay, you can just put whatever commercials you want between there. And with Scuddy, if you use it to cover the commercials, what I like about Scuddy is that it lets us make intelligent choices, because that way it does a much better job of like filling the holes, because you don't want to cut stuff off because then you can't bill for it. So it's cleaner and looks better than just guessing. And I will mention there's tools like SyncBack, and I can't remember what some of their customers. So the stream goes through like the SyncBack on the way to the CDN, and ultimately how you get paid there is paid per impression, but it isn't trafficked, so no one needs to do any work. But when you get a lot of viewers, it's simple and it pays for itself. So I've had some clients that started out trafficking it because that was the way that they could make the money to pay for it. But when they started getting known in the community, they changed to doing it with like the SyncBack that takes care of everything. So it's completely hands-free. And actually the WCX thing, we record their news when it plays in the morning or evening or whatever, and it's rebroadcast during the day, and we automatically segment it. So ultimately it's hands-free. They did not have to use anyone. No one had to do anything because it uses the Scuddy markers to kind of approximate the gaps and fill that. But the other thing with, I don't know, it's like it's, I guess they did not have to put people on it. So it helped pay for itself very quickly, and they did not have to worry about, yes, sorry. Apparently when you hit the forward button on that, it just starts playing again. But so also when they've checked and surveyed people, this is the kind of stuff that you can do now with this. Most of the viewers prefer to watch advertisements rather than pay for a subscription. And 25% of OTT viewers are happy with up to 10 minutes of advertising if they don't have to pay. So I'm guessing that they're not watching 15 minutes of total TV. So that.
No, I've got a question on that. Okay. My question, it's Mark Persons here. My question has to do with advertising you just mentioned. Do you have any kind of record keeping on people who say do digital recording so that they can bypass the commercials while they're watching the content?
No, actually, I do not have any. Well, he just asked if there's any kind of documentation I have on people that like this so that they can bypass the.
Yeah.
They want to like bypass the commercials while they're watching. Is that what you asked? Sorry. Yeah. Generally, the thing is when you're doing this, it like won't play until the next thing, because you can't skip the commercials. I stream stuff a lot, but I think that's like some of the stuff that goes on with that has to do with your CDN. They don't let you go around it. So
yeah, I can
at
see
least
their intent, although at my place, of course, I'm on the equivalent of cable TV, and I'm able to start watching early and then go away and then come back and miss and bypass the commercials, as I mentioned. Thank you.
yeah, no, it's sorry, I've got and I guess I should do it on my computer so I could raise the volume and you could maybe hear him. But he was saying that I guess with YouTube you can kind of skip through stuff, but not all of it, not all the time. Yeah. Like I said, some of the stuff in like one of the I guess my newest customers, and I was going to tell you about this later, that basically he called me and they just actually went online today, I guess a couple months ago, because their sales department basically sold the sponsorship that paid for the channel. So they had everything they needed to get the MediaFire Extreme from us. So then sales was every day was saying, what's the status? What's the status? We need to tell our sponsor. And the engineers were like, these things take time. And it was also the order was placed right before NAB. So we could have had, yeah, so all the equipment. And then, yeah, so it's like, here we have, I guess, like the statistics, 87% of US households have at least one internet connected TV in 2022, increasing ownership rates by the 37% in only 8 years. That's a nice jump. But also, broadcasters, you guys are getting revenue differently depending on your needs. So like I was saying with the sync back, if you have a large number of viewers, you may prefer pay per impression, because it could really pay off quickly when you have strong viewership, or pay off a lot. And then you don't have to track it, so it's no cost to you. But I've got, I guess, some of the stations, basically they found it better revenue at first to traffic, because it was, I guess, less expensive for them. And so they kept doing that until they built up viewership, and then they changed so they could only traffic at certain times, or they keep a. And the other thing is you can choose to sell your OTT and OTA advertising as a single pass package. So basically charge more. So you get, like, basically tell them they get, I guess, the two streams, you get the regular traditional, or you may prefer to schedule different advertising for OTT versus OTA. But you get to select the business model based on what your customers want. So, and according to Nielsen, more than 60% of OTT viewers prefer to watch long form and live streaming content on a big screen. And it's not just millennials. More than 60% of OTT viewers are ages 25 to 54. And that's more than 90 million viewers. And the ROI depends on the model. And this, like I said, the one station I have that, I guess he's in the Great Lakes region, East, North, Central, the sponsorship prior to implementation. So it had paid for itself. They talked it up and got someone to throw down for a year's worth of advertising that paid for the system that they needed. And then I have one of the other ones I showed you before, CX. They paid for it in under a year by selling sponsorships and then reusing their own content. And then it's free because it would automatically segment. So he did not have to, they did not have to have people, so it would, because it would record the news when it went out. So you'd have news segments and they just trafficked another channel. But so you could put whatever kind of interstitials, did not have to worry about laying it over cleanly with a SCUDdy. And then another one, where it's WMC, they created a lot of their own content and shows. They did a lifestyle show, but also because there's so much sports down there, they were doing pre and post game shows. Although I guess those have changed a little bit. I guess you guys look at this, because they were having a real problem with the coaches. There was apparently some ego involved in people showing up doing, so they had to change the format. So, because they, but yeah. But so yeah, the ROIs depend on the model, and you can pick. The nice thing about with the OTT is you work for your community. And then again, we've got these content examples. So we've got recorded and live news. So you could do the live news, or you can record it and then have it available on demand. And local originated content, such as like sporting events, they're doing it at one station. Also, you can just stream weather radar and weather forecasts with sponsor. And then sponsorship graphics, promotional videos, also could just be time, temperature, station, ID, logo. But you have a lot of choices, and people apparently tune in for it. And so here's something else that's happening some, is that when you're adding streams, we've got some new tools to help with the content. So this is like a virtual news desk, less expensive and less work. It's a professional studio without the expense, maintenance, or space requirements. So you can see she's in front of a green screen, and then we had the graphics back behind her, and she's got like the computers looking at, and then the buttons to pull stuff up. And it's in a spot like, basically it's like the size of a closet. So if it's so professional news ins and cut-ins for both over-the-air and streaming broadcasts. We've got people doing that now with this kind of technology. So it's the latest in augmented graphic technology. So you can pick, and you can dynamically change the set for different times of day and events with just a button, and it can make you look like you've got here they've got this stuff, that virtual news desk, and you can see here we've got the monitor up there with her, and then the green screen there. You can see part of the appeal of like the virtual news desk is that it allows you to appear that you have a larger facility, more staff, and many appealing locations, because you could put like a picture of number of cities and have like I don't know, you could say a statewide network, but reducing production costs and setup time. So, and this is our tool for, I guess, the streaming, the adding channels, and the OTT. It's MediaFire Stream, and it has the built-in SCUDdy, and since it's a self-contained playout channel, it's easy to drop in, and so that's one of the things that like CX does not use digital broadcast for their master control, but we they have inversion, but we can pull the content interstitials from those servers and automatically, so it's hands-free for them to do that, so they do not have to re-ingest their advertisements when they want to insert those commercials. They just have the option, they schedule it. So in the integrated air chain, here it's what should I say, well, this is the marketing line, feature-rich end-to-end solutions to streamline and modernize your workflow. And keep in mind, it's like the SDI IP HLS simulcast. So it can play out to a web page, app, online channels like Hulu, Apple TV, Roku, and it has interfaces with the weather systems like WSI and Barron, so you can get your data from that. And actually, one of the stations that we just set up, it's going in live with it. We are pulling the weather information from weather.gov. So they just told us what cities, and we can just pull it. That's free access. And then we scan their website. They have a ticker down at the bottom that has their headlines on it. So the let's see, the ticker automatically pulls that information from their website, so it's up to date, and it lets people know like what's coming. And also on the ticker too, it has a, for more information, go to 9 and 10 News. But let's see, I'm trying to like, and then built-in calm processing. And like I said, the automated news recordings and replaying of that content, like I was talking about and then you can have the traffic and billing interface if you're doing that instead of doing like something like a sync back. And then also single channel and multi-channel, up to you. So you can also expand it, but keep in mind too, and actually with some of our customers, when they have us, like WCX had us for news, not master control. So we just added it as a channel to that system, which helps also keep costs down. And here is the GUI for the Extreme. And it's just basically, I just put up, I guess, the 4 channels. So it's multi-channel capable, but it's completely flexible, and the GUI is based on your needs and what you want to see. We preset so you can have like primetime news, morning breaking news, or also, Stacy can, have it look like she wants to, and Jill, I can have it look like. So you see those 3 buttons up in the top left corner? Those are the presets for the configurations, and you can just click through that, and it instantly changes the look because you have those looks there. So, people, we all like to be able to. Well, if you can make it look like what you're used to using, at least for operators, it really helps with the learning curve or adding it in. So, see. Oh, and consider this too as like Scripps, for example, purchases all the companies that provide much of the alternative programming, like Court TV, Bounce. Stations are going to lose access to the sub-channels that they're currently licensing. And when this occurs, you'll need to put new content in the place of those dot channels. And if you don't license it, and it's like hardware. And this is here because my friend was saying you can't do this without putting the picture of the hardware in there, because he said we all like seeing the hardware. And so here we've got, I guess, this is just an example that's fully expandable. You can always change the video outputs and so on. But here we've got, this is to like your monitor. And then we've got a redundant 10 gig NIC switch you could do to 2 switches so you don't lose it there. And then ultimately with the redundant power supply, one of the things that we of course recommend is that you hook the redundant power supplies to a separate power strip in the event of a power failure or strip loss or loss of power. So, and at least one of those power strips should be plugged into the UPS. So it's basically CYI stuff. And then this is a simple drawing of the Extreme. So, and we've got like the sync back here, and then we've got the output of the sync back, and these are just examples of where it can go to. And here we've got master control, which may not be us, but it's sending over spots and programming from that. So it helps it happen automatically. It's designed to bridge the traditional OTA playout and transmission with the streaming, and the fact that it's a self-contained product that has everything in it. It's easy to drop in, and it's funny because the streaming being, I have, you guys know Idea Stream, the PBS like up in Ohio. It's funny because they bought an Extreme for their disaster recovery. It's a DR at their transmitter because it has all the pieces. So that was, they're like, this is what we're gonna do. And they commissioned it like in their building and then just drove it up the hill. It was funny. It was like, yeah. So, but we've had the the IP. Let's see. I don't know if I'm. Oh yes, yeah. I don't know if I'm. Is my audio going out to the people that are on there?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
I can. Okay, yeah, because he keeps telling me recharge a headset because it didn't charge last night. So I was gonna say I could hit the computer up if that's a problem. So yeah, and the Extreme has comprehensive graphics that allows squeeze backs. So the squeeze back, like we're doing it with the stations like the 9 and 10, and that's where they're putting the I guess pulling the data for the see on demand. I'm trying to, I'll be able to pull up this, but so it helps you, I guess. And it's, so as more stations are adding the OTT to their broadcast plans, because it's appealing to advertisers because of the higher viewer engagement levels, which means you can get them to pay more for targeted advertising. So, and you can expand your audience by having content available live streaming and on demand using YouTube, Facebook, or even your own website. And then you can generate additional revenue for it by using the dynamic ad insertion in the study 35. And so you maintain control, lower costs by owning your content, and you keep all the profits. And since ATSC3 has the possibility of multiple program streams, that interaction and the digital rights management, it's giving us, I guess, just like a new market. So it's like, here's a thing. It says, linear TV makes live viewing easy and generally provides the highest quality, and the infrastructure, I guess, is largely in place. But streaming enables us to reach a younger audience, which is kind of funny to me. And they said that because technically the younger audience is under 55, and I'm not sure that I'm a younger audience, but let's see. So millennials do remain the strongest demographic, and they account for 50% of the OTT subscribers under 35. But since, and we've talked about this, the ad audience in the OTT space could be precisely built and targeted with super personalized ads, it gives advertisers robust possibilities to quantify the impact and calculate the ROI more accurately. So, and let's see. I don't know if that's, but as you see here, we've got 28 million streaming only, linear TV only 39 million, mixed platform 177 million. So nice to have choices. And I guess kind of in here. Obviously, there's clear revenue growth. It's becoming easier, so we need to have a plan. And since ATSC 3.0 allows us to have additional sub-channels, you can create and monetize those channels across both SD and HD, delivering a rich depth of content choices for your consumers, because it empowers you for a more significant opportunity for monetization. And having the streaming option allows for an increased audience where you're not restricted by geography or time constraints. And like I said, all the kids are watching it on their phones. It's funny because like at NAB, I kept bringing up some of our customers' streams just on my phone, like while I was there, and it was a kind of cool. And whatever comes out of the stream is usually MediaFire Extreme, at least for us, is usually conditioned by the content delivery network or the platform, and the different providers have different requirement specs. I guess, for example, like Verizon, they have preferred formats as they specify. So you'll know that, but our MediaFire Extreme can support multiple channels and support 4K, and how many channels it can support with the 4K is going to obviously depend on the pipe. Anyway, and that's the end of my tirade, and I can gonna bring up something to see. Let's see. Don't.
I have some
Funny
questions when you have time.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
No, I guess well, I can maybe turn this on so that we can hear it. So let's see. Computer audio. Yeah, it's like disconnected. So I think I have to hang up on the phone and stuff. So let me try that so that people can hear you talk. And
Hey, so questions, I think maybe we can all hear you now, so I just thought that was a better idea.
Okay, great. Oh, just a comment here on the beginning. You mentioned dual power supplies in a server. Great idea, love it. And you said one of them should be on a UPS. Well, I have to laugh because in the broadcast business, what we find out that's the most unreliable piece of equipment in the station is the UPSs. So they fail. You don't even know they've failed. My question is, on the server, is there an indicator saying, hey, one of the two power supplies has gone down?
Yeah, it's my understanding with us that it does. And actually one of the interesting things that digital broadcast does that let me see if I can mute this. So, oh Lord. I clicked on their advertising. So we monitor the system remotely. And actually when I first started, I was talking, like one of my customers called, he said, I just got a hard drive delivered and I have no idea why. And then the phone rang, he said, I have to pick up this other line. And it was one of our engineers letting him know that they'd seen that it had cycled through X number of times. So it was starting to be at risk. So proactively, and it's, you guys know, proactive fixing is less expensive, less emotionally expensive than being reactive. So I will, that's what's one of the ways that we handle that. So let's see.
Okay.
I will.
Another question. Another question.
Okay. Yeah, I believe, and I said they'll just, we do S&P jobs.
It's so garbled, I didn't hear it.
Sorry. It's I'm not sure. He said that basically, can we do S&P traps?
Hmm.
So I'm asking yes, the big boss, so. Yeah, it is. I mean, and actually though, it's, we can do, basically it's dealer's choice on that. So actually I'm trying to screen share that. So share. Yeah, I'm not sure that. Okay. Except I'm not seeing that there, so. See. Trying to. Yeah, I don't know why it's, let's see. Never had trouble like this because it shows me that it's showing this screen here, but, I don't know. Answer. Yeah.
Well, at least we got a nice photo of you, Jill, because we put some of that information on our website, sbe17.org.
Yeah, I'm trying to, bring up, it's, trying to do it like this and I guess, oh, well, I could put it on I guess it's got, monitors on it too, so. Mm,
Now, I do have an additional question when you're ready.
okay,
So, we as broadcasters are involved with the EAS, Emergency Alert System, and you send content to broadcasters, fine. Then our EAS will interrupt programming if something serious is happening. What about on live streaming? Is there any effort to alert the public if we're going to have a nuclear attack or whatever it turns out to be?
yeah, I mean, on your stream, if you've got, it'll, basically come through, I guess, automatically, and that'll be part of your view, so sorry, I'm struggling with this.
Joe was asking whether they were running Minnesota-based customers.
Um, And I'm not sure, because this is technically, is it, so the SMP traps, is that for alerts and notifications? And, yeah, so I do not know why this is see. I do not know. You can I've never had this kind of trouble. I'll try to get it. I'm sure let's see. Sorry, JT hasn't answered me yet, Charlie. This is I do not know why it's trying to. It's apparently it's sharing this on the other screen. It's not showing.
Just for timeliness sake, we might need to scrap that one.
Yeah, no, I was so basically, he said, yeah, so the SNMP tracks, we can do that for alerts and notifications. And he said, Ray, now clear, it's a very small one.
Okay.
But obviously, well, and so next week, actually, after, I'm going to Wisconsin because we have a bunch of customers there. And then road stations and stuff too, but,
KUSC Mankato.
oh, yeah. Just mentioned that, so. But, we do a lot of stuff with, these customers are. It's funny, because one of the things about, a lot of the stuff with Ray and Dave Burke, they're, well, this is one of those things that the reason it's nice to be, privately held is because we listen to our customers. So a lot of things like the Media Fire Extreme, the Gray guys, they kind of came up with their name, their engineer, Dave Evans. He thought it was funny because it's streaming. But basically he said we need a product that does this, this, and this, this. And he said, okay, that might be useful to a lot of people. And, sure. Anyway, any other questions or?
So you created this with Ron and now you streaming it on demand. You basically go to YouTube or you go to the website find and on demand videos, right? Is your company make kind of a plan? So say no one. I think that's what's really.
Yeah. No, we have people that have asked about that, but we do not have, I guess, the app, but ultimately, yes, I've got someone that put it together and get, well, like a brain or, so we haven't done that, we just do the content and play with all the parts so that we can get it on and off of it. No. We got a number of places to do apps and stuff. People.
Recording in progress.
Yep. Mhm. Oh, now we've got a screen share. Yeah, that's coming through. It's just not popping up on your projector. It must be set up. To show two screens. Any other questions from the group?
Yeah.
Mars.
I definitely see what we're doing.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah, it's
Thank
funny
you very
to-
much
yeah,
coming all this way.
yeah, well, no, it's happy to do it and, thanks for asking. And ultimately, it's, ironic to me how often I see people like us in, I guess, technical jobs, and then we have technical failures. So it's like, that's CAX. So that's basically, they do, they stream two channels simultaneously, and one is the local news live, which comes from DC. And so they own that pass that through, but also on the second one, I guess, they stream their news when it's first being done, and then they record it and segment it and replay it back, I guess, all day until the next new ones. So basically it goes, and then if you go to like YouTube for them, you can see they've basically put all because it streams out in the IP, we have the IP simulcast, so they can send up those things to, I guess, YouTube, so they'll have, on-demand stuff too, so. See, really,
Yeah, I don't really know. So we have 13 live channels, and then everything else is good. Turned into, on the land. But as an excellent on your county, your staff and leadership is quite who was watching what.
Thank you. Yeah.
Our viewership is diminishing and aging, all the time online is gaining.
so you're Twin Cities,
Yeah, but the thing is, we're running here from 8 to 6 during the day, and weekday, all the next day.
yeah,
Kind of really.
So channel repeats that.
yeah, years years ago, Bruce Jacobs, I knew him well, so his past life. Because certainly, I think he probably one of the people that knew my dad and therefore knew me. That's kind of work stuff when your little girl goes into broadcasting. This is because my undergraduate degree was biology, and basically I kept having to borrow money to feed myself and pay the rent. And my father said, we need to look into something more sustainable. And I was like, oh. So then he sent me to, I guess, talk to Alan Devaney, who started Crispin, because Alan's wife at the time worked in radio, and I had been the GM of the radio station and had worked with the FCC in college and certainly knew my way around there. And he was thinking radio advertising, but I go in and because my dad did this stuff, let's see, 2, so. Put a, see,
Was there any other questions from the Zoom call?
yep. Oh, ouch. Yeah. Sorry, Trevor, and thanks for coming to join us and see. Yeah.
No worries. So it goes sometimes.
Always problem. There we go. That's the channel, so you can see, and that's, we all do the graphics on it and stuff like that, but yeah, so. And then, all right, guys, so Trevor, thanks for joining us. I hope you're somewhere cool. And I don't mean weather-wise. Like,
Yep, I'm in a pretty cool place. My condo's on the 25th floor with not a lot of tall buildings around, so I got a magnificent view here.
where are you?
I'm in, oh, I'm not supposed to say it actually, since this is being recorded. Sorry, it's security sensitive. I'm in Southeast Asia.
All right, well, you probably know, so you can tell me. I'm jealous. I miss traveling. And I just sent over the link to CAX, and then the other one is like WMC, so you can see. That's LNL, we do LNL too, so. So a bunch of the gray ones, so. But, you know, because they used us for one and they liked it. And then also thing is about having, I guess they could, so I'm gonna, I guess, shut us off now, so that basically you can. Yep, thanks.